What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to talk about how this LeBron and Michael Jordan GOAT debate has been more so of a distraction than anything else, right? And I ran across this video. This video is from a podcast called A Max Deal, right? And they tell about and it talks about how LeBron James and Michael Jordan, each one of them have handled their business in the have went about their investments and stuff like that, right? And so if you listen to this, it sounds it sounds good, like LeBron James and Michael Jordan have all this leverage, but my thing is this is not really true. I think that professional athletes and entertainers basically are almost like food for people like big business people, because they have the money to spend on the big houses, the cars, and all this expensive stuff. But when it comes to doing business and stuff like that, a lot of times, they get froze out, and they have power, but their power is not real power. They have power as a consumer, but they don't get to sit at the table. It looks like it, especially like when you look at LeBron James' career right now. During his career, he's making a lot of business moves and everything seems to be going well. But after LeBron James is over finished playing, I think, and this happens all the time, they just pull the rug from under you, and for most people, they just turn you into a consumer. And so let me play this video, the audio from this podcast, and I'm gonna stop it, and I'm gonna give my input and tell you and point out some things that I disagree on.
The crowd roars as LeBron James sinks the game-winning shot. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan pours a drink and checks his phone. Not for highlights, for the quarterly numbers from Jordan Brand. Jordan versus LeBron. The GOAT debate that never ends. 6 rings, 4 rings, clutch shots, career longevity. But while fans argued stats on X and ESPN and filled hours with highlight reels, a far more consequential battle was unfolding in boardrooms and backroom deals. One man turned a dunk into a dynasty, earning 9 figures a year from a logo. The other built an empire while still lacing up his shoes every night. This isn't about who has more MVPs. It's about who controls the future of basketball itself. And right now, LeBron James is making a move so audacious, so unprecedented, that NBA owners are meeting in secret to stop him. Because if he succeeds, he won't just be in the record books, he'll be signing the checks.
All right, that's kind of an exaggeration, right? But what I have to say about the Jordan and LeBron debate, the thing is, it is a distraction because it all boils down to athletes and entertainers are pitchmen. And in this video, they're going to try to make it sound like athletes and entertainers are going to go from being endorsers and pitchmen to owners, right? And partners and stuff like that. But it don't work like that. And I'm going to show you and tell you how.
Chapter 1, the Nike Blueprint. Before LeBron ever signed a contract, before he even stepped on an NBA court, the business playbook had already been written by a 21-year-old kid named Michael Jordan. In 1984, Jordan didn't want to sign with Nike. Back then, Nike wasn't cool. Adidas was king. Converse had the legends. Jordan, still stinging from being picked 3rd in the draft, wanted Adidas, the brand he dreamed of as a kid shooting hoops on his backyard dirt court in North Carolina. Nike was desperate. They needed a star. So they made him an offer no one had ever seen before. $250,000 up front, nearly $1 million in today's money, and a percentage of every Air Jordan sold. It wasn't just a shoe deal, it was equity. By his rookie season, Air Jordan was a cultural phenomenon. Kids lined up for blocks outside Foot Locker at 5 a.m. Scalpers sold $65 shoes for $200 cash. The NBA actually banned the black and red colorway, which only made them more desirable. By the end of his career, Jordan had built something far bigger than basketball, a brand empire wrapped in sneakers. His annual Nike royalties, over $100 million every single year.
All right, so they say he get $100 million in royalties every year, right? Now, keep in mind, the Jordan brand falls under the umbrella of Nike, but Nike just has so many different types of, tennis shoes or sneakers that Jordan brand is just one branch of that, right? So it's still, Mike is still endorsing that brand, but it's not, he gets royalty, but it's not his, right? And so it's not, Mike is not a partner per se with Nike. I mean, you can say he's a partner, but he's more so he still endorses Nike.
Still didn't just make Jordan rich, it made him the wealthiest basketball player in history. Even today, with LeBron closing in, Jordan still holds the crown. That deal changed the relationship between athletes and brands forever. Athletes stopped being endorsers. They became equity partners. But while Jordan built a brand, LeBron saw something different. Why be the face of a company when you could own the company? Chapter 2, the LeBron Playbook. LeBron didn't want to follow the blueprint. He wanted to rewrite it. From the beginning, he wasn't just chasing titles. He was chasing leverage. His first Nike deal, $90 million, before he played a single NBA game. But instead of just collecting checks, LeBron started asking a different question. What if I didn't just endorse brands? What if I built them? So he took equity in Blaze Pizza, a small chain no one had heard of. Within a few years, it was valued at over $250 million. He partnered with Beats by Dre, not just as a sponsor, but as an investor. Therefore, when Apple bought Beats for $3 billion in 2014, LeBron's $1 million stake transformed into a $30 million windfall overnight. He wasn't chasing the spotlight. He was chasing ownership. But his biggest move wasn't in food or headphones. It was media. In 2020, LeBron co-founded Spring Hill Company. Not just a production company, but a media fortress that gives him something more valuable than money, control over his own story. Wall Street noticed.
And this is how they get athletes and entertainers with these media companies. Look at what Kevin Hart is going through with his media company, right? At one point in time, they said Kevin Hart Media Company was worth like $600 million. Now all these stories are coming out about how the company is falling apart and, everything is going downhill. So what happens is when you are an athlete or you're an entertainer and you have the money and you have some contacts, they allow you to set up these media companies and so you can do that. But after a while, after you have your time and your money invested in it, like I said, they pull the rug from under you and you're not allowed, you know what I mean? The business don't run and turn out the way you want it to turn out. LeBron James, like the businesses that he have, all of his leverage is connected is because he plays basketball right now. And you'll see in very short order, like once LeBron James finished playing basketball and he don't have any relationships outside of basketball with like the business world and he didn't cultivate relationships with other entrepreneurs. He's basically competing with those guys once he finished playing basketball, and they don't care about your championship rings. I think the thing that saved Michael Jordan is that Michael Jordan, Air Jordan is still marketable. Look at LeBron James. Will LeBron James be marketable as a brand himself after he finished playing basketball? Like Mike can sign his name to, because he's so iconic, Mike will always be able to sign his name and cash in on that. But LeBron James is more somebody who is he's more of a person who is more controversial. He's more I forgot the word I wanted to use, but he's more polarizing, right? Then he's iconic to a certain extent, but not like Mike, and so it's hard to market somebody like LeBron James, right? And like I said, once LeBron James's basketball career is over with, you'll see like the whole truth is going to come out with like the media company that he had, the pizza company, Clutch Sports, because that is how Clutch was able to get those clients, because LeBron James was in the league. Now, once LeBron James is no longer in the league, we'll see if he'll still be able to get the clients, which I don't think so, because now you'll have somebody else coming in, they'll be the face of the league, and then players will gravitate towards them. You saw it with, like, at one point in time, I think Deion Sanders was a sports agent, or was it it was what was the now I think it was Master P was a sports agent. Then what was the other guy, the other rapper that was a sports agent? MC Hammer was a sports agent. And you could get clients like that, if you're in that position. But once your leverage is gone, those, you won't be able to maintain those clients or continue to get clients, and you'll fade away. And so it'll be the same thing with Clutch. I mean, it was the same thing with the guy who even manages Michael Jordan, or managed Allen Iverson back in the day. Right. So when they post stuff like this and they make it seem like athletes are, because athletes make so much money now, they have so much more leverage and so much more control. It's all a setup, and it's all smoke and mirrors. And that's one thing that I think that Michael Jordan realized, early on, that it's all smoke and mirrors and it's all a setup. They can basically take a billionaire athlete and turn him in, make him just a consumer. Right? Because athletes and entertainers make all that money, and they get used to a certain lifestyle. And once they're finished playing their sport, they don't have any way to generate the kind of money that they were making when they was playing that sport. And so now that's when you hear about athletes and entertainers going broke. Especially athletes. Once athletes and rappers finish, and you figure a person is a billionaire, they made $500 million, and like, how did they go broke? Because they have that lifestyle, and they can't maintain that lifestyle because they no longer get paid on the same level that they did as when they were at their highest, at the highest point in their career. So when you hear podcasts and videos like this, and they try to say that, like I said, athletes have all of this leverage, and they're not only trying to, I think it's all a setup. They're no longer, athletes are no longer endorsers, they're business partners. And I think it's all a setup, and that's why you always hear, well, athletes go broke 5 years after they finish playing, because they, like, how you going to continue that lifestyle or maintain that keep yourself in that same tax bracket once you're done? It's almost impossible, unless you get on a sports network like Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny Smith. You got to be able to be marketable. There's no such thing as retirement and walking off into the sunset, all that stuff. You even billionaires, athletes, entertainers had to continue to work and find ways to generate money. And that's why it's good to be able to make and cultivate business relationships. So that's my take on it. I just wanted to speak on, like, how that GOAT debate is a distraction from, like, the bigger picture at hand. Is like how, and the bigger picture is athletes and entertainers are basically food. They're like stimulus checks. They pour money into whatever economy, like, wherever they live at. LeBron James pours a lot of money into the Los Angeles community because he's he's a big fish. Michael Jordan poured a lot of money into Chicago, right? But once they finish playing and they're no longer in that spotlight, they need to have a way to continue to endorse, because they got to be able to continue to endorse and protect their brand and protect their image throughout their career, so they can endorse even after their playing days, because that's how the game is set up. And so that's my take on it. Make sure to like, subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.